now that the off-season workouts are done, now we get to do something fun as content creators. So I decided to come up with something throughout the 5 weeks before training camp. So from now until training camp, I will be starting a brand new series where I'm going to be breaking down some of the rookies or maybe some of the veterans, some tape to see how these players could gel with the New England Patriots. In this video, I will be doing a film breakdown with Andy on Efton Chism coming up right here, right now on NE Patriots Talk. Let's go. Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to another edition here on the NE Patriots Talk channel. And as I mentioned before, this is the first episode of the brand new series on film breakdowns with my friend Andy. How are we doing today, man?
We are doing well, Dao. How about you, buddy?
I am doing great. And so, like I said before, so I asked all the people in the Discord if they would be interested in doing this kind of content, and this is it. So the first video, we're going to be breaking down Efton Chism, who was the biggest star coming out of the, I wouldn't say coming in a draft, but within the list of all the undrafted free agents that we signed post-draft. So if you don't mind, Andy, could you give our audience a breakdown of who Efton Chism is and why he joined with the Patriots?
So Efton Chism III, for those of you who've heard about him, I've loved him since. Who've heard me say this? I've loved him since before the draft. He was, by many, slated as between a 5th and 7th round draft pick. So in the later rounds, not the earlier rounds, but the later rounds. He is out of Eastern Washington State, and one of the guys whom he is frequently juxtaposed to is one Cooper Kupp, formerly of the LA Rams, now of the Seattle Seahawks. He beat all of Kupp's records, Chism did, while at Eastern Washington. Kupp, I believe, had a record, was it 52 catches in a season? And Chism turned that into 53. So beat Kupp by 1. It was a surprise when the Patriots picked up Chism as a UDFA, because many thought, oh, geez, a playoff team. There were many people thinking, oh, geez, a playoff team or a borderline playoff team is going to take this guy in the late round, just, as a 3rd wide receiver, maybe a 4th wide receiver. As it happened, the Pats swooped him right up as a UDFA. And that was after the Denver Broncos had courted him on a 30 visit, had him on a 30 visit, and aggressively courted him, saying, for those of you who listen to our live streams, Sean Payton told him, you will be closer to your family if you come to Denver. The Patriots did not host Chism on a 30 visit. Rather, he was so, I'm not going to say enamored, but was so positively struck by a simple phone call with Mike Vrabel that he picked the still supposed by many to be bottom of the barrel New England Patriots over the Denver Broncos. So that, and not so short, is Efton Chism III. And as Dao alluded to already, this kid absolutely balled in OTAs and mandatory minicamp. I mean, there were times he looked like the number 1 wide receiver on the field. Now, Stephon Diggs missed OTAs, as you might recall. But Chism, I mean, that kid, we're not talking pads. We're not talking, we are talking real NFL defenders, but we're not really talking real deal ball yet here. But that kid that kid shows promise, man. And, comps of Cooper Kupp and Julian Edelman, that's nothing to sneeze at, man.
Exactly. So as you come in, guys, so we're gonna be doing something a little different with the format. So as you come into the live stream, guys, please make sure that you smash the like button and hit subscribe. It's completely free and helps supports the channel. But since this is going to be a short stream, since we're going to be breaking down Chism's film, there will be a little bit of questions and comments here and there. But as you come in, please make sure that you at least have a question. And right after the breakdown segment, we will be quickly getting into your questions at the end of it, discussing like why Chism did this in a certain play. So you can get a clear vision like that. And as I alluded, and just to give you an update before we proceed to the breakdown, just to give you an update that I will be pushing back the defensive back position live stream from Saturday to Monday. So just to make sure that you guys add this to your calendars so you don't forget. But
hold on, Dao. I just got something wrong. It was 53. Cooper Kupp had 52 consecutive games with a catch. Chism beat that record by 1, got 53. So it wasn't consecutive catches. It was consecutive games with a catch.
Interesting. Before we get into the nitty-gritty things, I was really shocked when I heard that Efton Chism was not drafted by the Denver Broncos. Like, the Denver Broncos had opportunities to draft Efton Chism, but I was shocked that they didn't draft him for whatever reason. And either it could play to the factor that he didn't do well in his combine. He had like a 470 in his 40-yard dash, if I'm not mistaken. But can you mind double checking that for me?
I'm going to. Efton Chism 40 was a 4.71. So yeah, that might be one of the reasons he went undrafted, and we've talked about that before. That's not, for a wide receiver, that is not a stud 40-yard dash. I'm not going to go down a rat hole about 40-yard dashes right now.
Okay. But usually
we're not going there.
Yeah, usually teams would always scout the players who are at least speedy and can make these plays. But
a soar above, meaning about 4.55, 4.6, 40 for a wide receiver might be kind of a red flag for a lot of teams.
Yes. So we're going to be using some of the clips from Big Sky Conference. Make sure that you at least follow Big Sky Conference so you can keep an eye on some of the tape from all of these players that we're going to be getting into. The next one, Land Larison, is going to be used from Big Sky Conference as he went to UC Davis, which is one of the schools in Big Sky Conference. So without further ado, let's start with the first play. So I will turn down the volume so we can take a look at the play. Unfortunately, I don't have the ability to like slow down the video, but let's just take a look. So in this video, Efton Chism will be wearing number 7 instead of wearing number 86. Just FYI for all these fans who want to know which number Efton Chism is. He's going to be number 7. So you can't see it in my cursor, but he's going to be the second wide receiver onto the top. And we're going to start from here. There's play action, short catch, making these mechanical moves, and then gets the touchdown. What were your thoughts on this first play from Efton Chism? Let's just slow it back there.
Yeah, play that again, Sam. So he makes the catch at about the 26-yard line, runs that 26 yards down the sideline into the end zone. That is, let me tell you, man, that's one of those sideline catches you see from, dare I say, the likes of Jamar Chase, Tyreek Hill, Cooper Kupp, has had some of those stunning sideline catches. It's like, Dow, I frequently marvel at this. Like, how do they not get their feet out of bounds when they are just boom, boom, boom? Imagine the focus. I know that sounds weird, but imagine the focus you have to have running down the sideline like that with the defenders behind you. You've got to be thinking about multiple things at once. Yeah, that was and of course, Chism there, you could tell he was not worried about those defenders. He was like, boom, I got this ball. I'm making a beeline for the end zone. And he did.
Yeah, like in that clip, in the first clip against, I don't know which team it was, but I guess it was against Monmouth. Okay. He got it was like a short pass, if I'm not mistaken. It was not like one of those deep balls, if I'm not mistaken. So it was like a little small hitch. And then using his speed compared to what he did in the combine, it was really impressive. Like he was like towards the edge of the field, yet making defenders snap their ankles. It's really impressive for an undrafted rookie who should have been like at least like a 6th rounder or a 7th rounder.
Yeah, he should have been. Play that footage again, Dao. So the quarterback was on the 35, almost gets sacked, and runs through those defenders for the touchdown. Chism runs through those defenders for the touchdown. That was not a play by a guy whom I would have billed as an undrafted rookie free agent. That was, we're talking college ball here, but that was, let me look up what division Eastern Washington is in.
I know it's an FCS school, if I'm not mistaken.
Eastern Washington.
Yeah, it's a Division 1 band.
It is Div 1 because I knew Cal Davis was D1. I thought it is. It's D1. So, yeah, that's D1 level competition there. I mean, Monmouth is not a school you hear frequently talked about in the NFL, but it's still Div 1 football. And that was a stellar play by Efton Chism. Again, did not look like a play out of a guy you'd think would fall to UDFA.
Then again, this is not this is not like FBS, this is FCS, so the competition is not as like competitive as you think, but at least he's still making plays, regardless of which school they were going up against. But this and in that video, that quarterback was getting pressured a lot because the offensive line didn't like protect him properly.
Right.
So let's now head over to this play. I'm going to set it right there. So you can see the quarterback on the left. I don't know where you can see Efton Chism, but
So Chism makes the catch at about the opponent's 45. Oh, jeez.
He made that hurdle using his speed to accelerate.
55 yards down the sideline, and again, a hitch.
So let's see where he lines up again.
Quarterback's on the 43.
So Efton Chism is not like lined up, so he backs down, and then
so Chism backs up, catches actually at about the 44.
So this was a play action
on a slant,
making defenders miss. That's impressive.
Correct.
So many missed tackles in that clip. So what were your thoughts on that play, Andy?
Yeah, again, I mean, you're talking short throw, long run. I mean, does that not scream Cooper Kupp to you? I mean, it seems like we've watched that kid make that kind of play. He's not a kid now, but we've watched him make that kind of play time and again. You know, Matt Stafford throwing him on, I believe that was a slant, and him running through defenders right down the middle of the field or the sideline. He had that magnificent, that awesome reception against us. I think was actually like a 50 or 55 yard catch. It was not a run, but play that clip again. I don't think the quarterback had. You see, he didn't have the defender flying in his face that he did on the previous play, but still, watch Chism jump over number 27. That is athleticism right there.
Yeah. Compare that to the Saquon Barkley hurdle. That's impressive.
Correct. And that was 27. Don't get my, that would be what would that be? A cornerback?
It could be a cornerback. It could be a safety. It could be. Want to take a look at that play again?
Yeah, I do. He doesn't exactly jump over him, but missing tackles. He's slick. I mean, it doesn't necessarily matter if you don't have that speed in your 40-yard dash at the flipping combine. The kid's slick.
Yeah. Not a lot of wide receivers can make that play in this type of competition, but with Efton Chism, that's really impressive.
Very much so.
And if you can make plays like that for the Patriots, like if Drake May can make these short passes, Chisholm could potentially be like a Pro Bowler if he can potentially make the 53-man roster.
Yeah,
as long as he does well with the pads on.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, and May, I will admit, May needs to work on his short passing.
The next play set up.
Yeah, play that clip again.
Trying to look up number 27.
No.
So
no. What route was this? No, that isn't. Yeah. Number 27. And who was the opponent in that game? Oh, Portland State. That would be Micah Avery, the running back. No, that doesn't make any sense.
Let me take a look at the roster for Eastern Washington. Let me just take a look at the roster. So number 27. Hold on, let me just briefly take a look. And obviously, we want to make sure that we keep things rolling, but at the same time, we need to make sure that we at least have something. Number 27.
Number 27.
I'm looking at their website. Actually, it's Isaac Redford. Yes, he is a cornerback.
He's a cornerback. Okay, yep.
Ready to continue?
Yes, I am ready to move on.
Let's go. So this is up against SLU, I think. So you see the quarterback with another play action, then he just rolls, and then
Chism right in front of the defender.
Let's see that play again. Well, let's skip that play. So Chism over this guy, and then makes an impressive catch over number 6, I think.
I mean, obviously that's a red zone play, but still, that's the kind of play we saw from Julian Edelman frequently.
Interesting. And I know that the Patriots had so many issues with scoring in the red zone as far as this.
We were one of the worst red zone teams. Let me look up red zone scoring real quick.
Okay. In the meantime.
So New England was third to last in red zone percentages with 46.81.
That was horrible.
Scoring percentage in the red zone. Touchdown percentage 46.81, behind only the Giants and Dallas. So that's pretty bad.
That is really disappointing, especially with a coaching staff that has zero clue of what they're doing.
Correct. But surprise, surprise, no, not really.
Yeah, let's head over to the next play. Up against I think it's up against UC Davis, the same school that Leon Larson went to. So let's see right here. This is a deep ball this time. And he mossed that cornerback. So this play was a deep ball, somewhat like a Hail Mary. What are your thoughts on this kind of play? Let's play this back again.
Again, so the quarterback throwing from about the 31. So they're 31 to the opponents. That's like a 50-yard dagger by that quarterback. And then Chism runs the 31 yards to the end zone. That is, again, we're talking college ball, but that's poised by the quarterback and it's poised by the wide receiver. And it shows that, he could potentially be, if you know what I mean, a dual threat wide receiver, catch a short pass from the end zone, catch a long pass from well into the opponent's side of the field. This kid is versatile, man. I mean, these 4 clips we've watched right now, I mean, he can run down the sideline, he can go up the middle. I'm liking, it's not surprising me at all watching this footage, how well he did at OTAs and minicamp.
Interesting. I think that if he continues to make these kind of plays, even during training camp with the pads on, this is the guy you're going to have to, that players and teams are going to have to look out for, because this is not the kind of talent that you would generally see in a wide receiver in Chism.
No, it's not. I forget whether I posted it in the. I think I posted it in the Discord. It was like, look out NFL! Here comes Efton Chism. I mean, obviously it's too early to say that, but if this kid can if Drake May can deliver a play if Drake May and Efton Chism can deliver a play like we just saw against UC Davis, that is a quarterback wide receiver tandem that the defenses are not going to want to be looking at.
Mm-hmm. Now let's head over to the next clip, up against Montana. And you can see, steps back, makes an incredible throw, and Chism was extremely open.
Very open on that play. I noticed that too. And again, a long throw, a deep throw.
Let's take a look at that play again. Steps back. Wide open.
That also means that quarterback could clearly throw him open there. Another thing Drake May needs to work on.
Especially under a lot of pressure, because we had one of the worst offensive lines.
We did.
And obviously Drake May, with his footwork improving, there would be opportunities that he could throw it to Chism in certain situations.
And I mean, of course, it's way too early to say, will a guy like Chism, would a guy like Chism negate, or would a guy like Chism cancel out a poor offensive line? We don't really know much about this team. We don't know what this new offensive line with Will Campbell, Garrett Bradbury is going to look like when they take an NFL field. We don't know if Chism does make the 53-man roster. We don't know what he's going to look like. It's that waiting game of training camp and the preseason that we've been talking about for weeks.
Mm-hmm. So let's head over to the next play. Let's see if I can. Okay, so this is from a horizontal play. Let's take a look. So here's the clip, right? So here's from the quarterback view, from like not from like the sides, but you can see stepping back, open.
Defender flying right in his face, and again he throws Chism open and off to the races.
Okay,
Boom, boom.
now we're going up against SCLA, and you can see.
Was that ball deflected?
I don't think so. I think he made that contested catch.
Holy shit.
If he continues to make these kind of plays, this is what we should be seeing throughout training camp. But at the same time, let's take a look at the play.
Why did NFL teams seem to wait? They waited his 40-yard dash over his college tape. I hope New England signs this kid to the 53-man roster and hopefully makes the rest of the NFL pay for not drafting him.
Let's hope that Chism gets a lot of opportunities throughout these preseason games.
And I think Vrabel really likes him.
And if he pops off throughout these 3 preseason games, because there will be a test to see who will make the 53-man roster, without a doubt, this man could make the 53-man roster.
Correct.
But let's not get too optimistic because we tend to like overhype some of these players when they, when we drafted like a wide receiver and they don't pan out.
Oh, and I even heard on the radio last week, I'm not even going to try to listen to 98.5 or, anymore, because it's like, oh, the glazing of Efton Chism. It's like, yeah, he looks like a stud in the preseason, and he might shit the bed when he takes a real NFL field. You don't know that. You also don't know if he's going to be, whether or not he's going to be a stud, to be fair. But people who are saying this kid is being glazed, these clips that you just pulled up are, that's some amazing vid right there.
This clip, I think, was taken from ESPN, if I'm not mistaken. But if we take a look at the back from the quarterback, you can see how the offensive line has been protecting the quarterback well. And then, if you take a look at the throw, a one-handed catch
under a defender.
This looks really impressive, especially for him.
That was a Julio Jones-esque catch. The defender was draped over him.
I can't believe it. So this is another clip up against Monmouth, and let's take a look. Correct me. No,
that was a deflection.
And then
wait, no. Play that again.
Let's take a look at the catch. Look, we see the quarterback right there. He's open on the slant, and then pushes him, and then uses his force to get in.
That looked like he looked like a running back on that play right there.
So you can see him, and then twitches, and then
that was a running back or tight end type run there. That's something.
That's slick. Because you generally don't see these kind of plays like that.
No, you don't.
Like, I don't know if it was the same style of route that Julian Edelman made up against Seattle in the Super Bowl. But do you think it's that similar of a route or no?
I don't think I don't remember that touchdown to Edelman. I don't remember. I think it was a different route. I think I remember Brady throwing that directly to Edelman in the end zone.
Well, let's continue.
But that is sadly not a clip we can pull up right now.
Yep. But let's continue. This is another clip. This is another play. Same thing against Monmouth. And then we see stepping back. Hold on, let me see that
and he goes again. Yeah, now that I'm remembering it, that was not the like I said, Chism looked more like a running back or a tight end on those two plays. Yeah, that was not the route to Edelman was very different against Seattle in 49.
And then you can see, I think this is, I don't know if this is like zone coverage or man coverage, but Chism looked open in this one, like right there. He looked really open. And then
makes the defender miss.
To make these,
yeah,
in zone coverage. That looks impressive. Unless I can be mistaken, but let's take a look at that play again from your perspective. Let me see. Okay, right here. That's just impressive. Extremely impressive. You're bound to see plays like this. And then we got a final clip up against Monmouth. Excuse me. So many clips against Monmouth.
Interesting.
Probably.
And again, not a team you hear a lot about in the NFL.
Yep. Let's see.
Okay, throws him open again. Don't tell me Chism somehow turns that into a score. No, but down to about the 26th there. That's
impressive. So
that's very impressive.
So I think this was more of an RPO because he hands the ball off to the running back, pretends, and then
that's a play. So
let me take a look at this position of the play. So I think Chism was like shifting to the left, motioning to the left, I think. And then
the running back acted like he had the ball.
That was smart by him.
They completely had the defense bluffed. Look how they all gravitated toward the running back.
Let's take a look at that again.
And they get the
and then that guy had
on that right side of the field. Yeah.
And then a guy had to run towards Chism because Chism made that play, and then
correct.
He twitched.
And then the defender realized, oh shit, the wide receiver had it.
But that's incredible speed.
Down to about the 30. Yeah, amazing play by Chism there.
Well, I think that concludes the film studies. Let's take a. So, given all of these clips that we taken a look at, which of these plays look extremely impressive in your opinion?
Well, I really liked I think it was that first deep throw you showed. I forget if it was the first or the second. It was the one where the quarterback threw it for about 50 and Chism ran for about 30. And then I think it might have been that what was that one where or was that the same one where he almost jumped over the defender? Because I think it was. Am I thinking about two clips or one? Help me out.
Do you want to take a look at the play again? Because I don't know which game. Because I don't know which game it was either.
I can't remember either. Oh, it was that Eastern Washington one. Not the Eastern Washington one. The Portland State one. That was the one I really liked.
Interesting.
And then that other one where he had that catch and run for 70 yards.
I wish that there was like a route tree chart for Efton Chism to see which kind of routes that he's more comfortable with and which routes that
would be
rarely see.
nice if we could pull up a route tree here. And unfortunately, I can't pull one up on my phone and put it on this screen. It doesn't work.
Yeah, but I just like some of these short passes. And Gerard has one question. I think that would be the only question, and then we're gonna conclude to this for this live stream.
Yeah,
But
Gerard, what's up, bro?
he said, "So is he a short pass guy?" Because there are instances like you can see him like being next to the quarterback, or he's trying to like be man to man onto like one of those defenders. There will be instances where you can like beat them in a race, and he can make these contested catches. Like that, my favorite play was actually that one-handed catch because
geez, that was, I mean, I was gonna say, it's like you're asking me to pick my favorite play. There were a lot of good ones in those clips, and I was thinking about that one against Portland State where he didn't quite jump over that cornerback, but almost did. Yeah, that one-handed catch underneath, being draped by a defender, that was, like I said, that was a Julio Jones-esque catch there. That is a clip that defenders who might be playing Efton Chism against Efton Chism this year are going to want to look at.
Yeah, and especially we saw some of these videos that you can see from Taylor Kyles, from Mike Reese, from especially on the CLNS media. You can see some of these routes during practice that Efton Chism was making. They were all crisp routes, and that route that Julian Edelman made, he made that similar kind of route.
The route that what?
The route that Julian Edelman made, or was it Danny Amendola made when he tried to catch the ball and get it for a touchdown, either against the Falcons or the Seahawks. But there were crisp plays.
I think it might have been Amendola, or it could have been both. I'm not.
Yeah. It's too vague, but at the end of the day, some of these general notes from like OTAs and minicamp proving that Chism has been showing out with the starters and the backups, which gives me hope that he performed a lot better than what Jalen Polk and Javon Baker did throughout OTAs last season.
He did, and a lot of people thought, they showed out well in the preseason. But Vrabel, it's promising that Vrabel seems to really like Efton Chism. And from what I've read about Mike Vrabel, if he likes a guy, he's going to roster him. And that's regardless of whether he's a first-round pick, a fourth-round pick, or a UDFA. If a coach like Vrabel likes that guy, he's going to be on his roster. He did that in Tennessee. I think there was one, I forget the name of the guy, but like there was one kid, I think like none of the other coaching staff liked him, and I think it was a defender, and Vrabel was like, no, this kid is going to work. And Vrabel was the head coach, and lo and behold, the kid was, and the kid worked out really well. I could be entirely dreaming. Tell me I'm not, but I think
was it this year or was it back in Tennessee?
It was back in Tennessee.
Was it like Caleb Farley or was it Kevin Byard?
You're right. In fact, it was Caleb Farley. Thank you.
Unfortunately, he spent one season. I think there were reports that we should have gone after Caleb Farley, but because of his injury history, but he did sign with the Panthers, and unfortunately, he didn't entirely pan out with the Panthers.
And that was why, I read about, thank you for backing me up, Doug. I'm like, I know I'm not dreaming. There was a guy in Tennessee who was on the roster solely because of Vrabel, and you're right. You're exactly right. It's Caleb Farley.
Yeah, and the general manager at that time was not Ryan Cowden. It was John Robinson, who eventually got let go by Tennessee because of his misses and, the whole story with Traylon Burks.
Well, of course, we know of all Bill Belichick's misses, even when we were good.
But that's going to be it for this first episode of the Patriot Talks film breakdowns. I really enjoyed those breakdowns, and I can't wait to do another one with Dustin on Lan Larison. And I bet you Dustin found a video that we're going to be using for this Lan Larison film breakdown, and we're going to be heavily using this to break down majority of this.
And I had no clue who Lan Larison was when I first read that name. Right after, I was like, who? What kind of a name is that? I was like, okay, I'll look up his college film. You guys are not going to want to miss this video with Dao and Dustin about Lan Larison.
Find that out on Wednesday.
It is going to be some really, really good stuff and really, really good plays. You're not going to want to miss that.
Why UC Davis was one of the best schools in FCS. You do not want to miss that out. And if you really enjoyed this kind of film breakdowns and want to see more of that, with like the likes of Swinson, we can do Henderson, we can do Williams. We can do Jared Wilson. Comment down below which one.
Jared Wilson, and we could do Jared Wilson and Will Campbell. That could be. Now you got me thinking.
Yeah, you should be really interested, guys.
Oh yeah.
And if you really want us to do it, please smash the subscribe button. It's completely free. It helps supports the channel. And if you enjoyed this film breakdown, click like so that you can give us your feedback on if we should continue this or we should do something else. And turn on these notifications so you don't miss out on a future live stream or show or video. And please make sure that you watch my winners and losers video that I uploaded a couple days ago. It should be interesting to watch. And as always, go Pats.
Go Pats. Peace.